Well, I thought I'd try to make a little short video. Well, probably won't end up being short, but I'm a babbler. So I've been getting into this chassis building, and the club that I belong to, they're having a class on chassis. Now the chassis we're building, I'm not really sure what that specific chassis is called, but we're building NASCAR, so I have several bodies. But essentially how we started out is placing this A body on a NASCAR. And you trace that out and you wind up with the drawing something like this. I have several NASCARs. Also got the NAS truck, which these are all one day going to be a running 124 slot car. Now we have this standard, what we call the Too Nasty chassis. I don't know how well you can see that on this camera, but they have these machined and available for us. So it's a 124. I think the cars that I have are, when they're finished, they're about, I want to say 280 to 92 grams. So these things are heavy. That's some 64 thou. I believe it's 64, it could be 90 brass. But this comes as a kit, you're just screwing it all together. And then I bought these from one of the other members. Let me pull this apart real quick. This is basically what the Too Nasty is based off of, is the Scholler chassis, which I believe was a German. It's a Camaro, that's the what fits on it, basically. So that would be one class of race. This is a TA Trans Am 2 class, and that's what I raced for that. So basically, as you saw with the Too Nasty chassis, what it's missing, they're similar, very similar, but this top piece here on the Scholler is missing on this. That's something you have to make for the Too Nasty, and it's based on that's based on what car you're going to put it under. So when I get this done, I just got it cut out. Still got some grinding to do, and I got to drill some holes here in the front, but essentially this will go like this. And what this piece is really designed for is, I think, weight, additional weight, but also a little bit of protection for your guide, because your guide's sitting out here. But that'll get 2 screws right in here, and then it's adjustable also. If you notice, this tongue is adjustable, this is adjustable, shrink it. These side pans here, you have to shape them to whatever car you're going to put on, and you can take them off and change. I could go from this car here, what I'm doing with this chassis, it's going to go under this 962. These are Blue Groove Lexon, like 30,000s. But essentially, I'm building this Too Nasty chassis for this car. So I'll have to adjust it, but essentially it will be to this. See, I still need to trim those side pans some, get it all painted. Well, that's not, you can't really see that. Let me move that out here a little bit better.
That's the original. That's where it came from.
And I've got the wing right here.
Doing shake
So that'll go on here. I got to trim it out, all this excess here. And that'll go right up in here. But essentially, that too nasty. My plans are for this to become my 962. And I mean, just as easily with adjustment of length of the chassis and making a new set of these side pans, I could also run it as, I'd probably use my shoulder chassis for this, but essentially this will fit on here as a whatever you want it to be. See, that would take some adjustment. Probably trim out those wheel wells. Trim out those wheel wells. And you could adjust these wheels up a bit. But I like these chassis because you can use them for several classes that we run there. And I'm not 100% sure, still learning the process and what can go with what, but they're offering a class this last week. We did our first class. This is my 68 Malibu. Love this car. Now this, Zach built this, Zach Morgan. He's in our club. And this is what they call a Hannah chassis. And I'll show you what that does. I get this, I just tape my bodies on rather than, well, I do have some kits they have like a pin kit. But so far I've just found this to be a little bit easier. So this is my Hannah chassis. Now the difference here on a Hannah chassis is this centerpiece can go side to side. So as it comes into a corner, the weight can shift. And this is one fast car. Zach is a chassis building genius, I'll tell you that. I look forward to learning all I can from him, but this also can be used for several classes in our club. But I love the way this thing drives. It's easy to drive, it's fast, and who doesn't love a Malibu? I mean, you can make it whatever you want, but that's just what I happen to have. So those are 3 of the chassis they run in my club. Now this chassis I'm building, I don't know if it has a name or what class. Well, it does run this NASCAR. They call it an Oscar. There's a Oscar rule set, and it meets those. So essentially, I've drawn out a pattern, and then they supplied all the brass pre-cut, and then what we do here, so I got a kit. It basically motor mount, the wire you have to cut. We have some, I don't know what size this brass is, but it slides on here. You got this piece, so essentially, let's see if I can kind of assemble it here, because I'm getting ready to solder all this together. And I probably won't put that on camera because I'm terrible at soldering. I'll get there. Okay, yeah, these 2 pieces of wire, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but essentially these 2 pieces you've cut, you bend these 90s into the ends of them, the lighting's probably terrible. And we have this small tube, and that fits inside of the wire. And this is round stock. Boy, that's a small hole. Chassis building when you're old and blind has its ups and downs. And trying to get this stuff together, God help you if you drop something else. So anyways, that's how that goes. And line my brass back up, all these relatively in a line there. And this back here, I don't need those two pins right there. And then my motor mount, these are square tubes. So this motor mount, it's beveled on there, or cut right here, so it'll sit on these two brass. And those two brass pieces, and then the motor will go right here. We haven't got the guide piece that goes up here, but essentially this will be my NASCAR. Get out of there. When it's finished. Well, these things here go, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of I still gotta get this all pinned up. As you can see how clean my block is. I've never technically built a chassis, so I don't know how this exactly, we didn't get that far in the class. I'm gonna guess that's kind of the way it goes. That's gonna be the wheel axle right there. Something like this. Now, I've never built a chassis, completely, or even partially for that matter. I've been running, we bought some of these, the club bought some of these. They're out of the box, so there's no assembly, although these are two-way pieces, and you can buy kits where you have to solder in a couple things. Ours are coming straight out the box, ready to run, and really fast cars. They're fun to drive, but the club is pretty much a scratch-built club, so they're more into, getting a model kit, like you had as a kid, painting it up, and, making yourself a car. And, I look forward to it. Oh, we also run these womps. This is a little 32 scale womps. Some of you might know what they are. I never heard of them until I got in this club, but this is my womp for the Lexan body. We've only raced them once, but we got one coming up next Thursday. These and these. So I'll probably race this one.
That's Chuck Berry. One you don't hear a lot. That's called
It's Audi. I believe that's the R8
before that, we had Chuck
LMP, and then
that was a
this is
request
like a Camaro.
gal out here.
Don't know what year.
Rick's
And that's my womp. That'll be this Thursday's race. And then these, I don't know exactly when we're gonna finish them, but they're for a race coming up in the future.
And I hope she's happy.
It's an Oscars type race. These probably.
And
But as they go along, I'll update you on where this is, and then when it's finished. But I just thought I'd make a video. I know Marty Ford, he's gonna start exploring the scratch-built chassis. George from Area 1, he's got some great videos on it. Now, he's been doing it for a while, so if you want to learn something good, go see George. And then Harry Weiss, I mean, you can't beat him. He's a legend in the scratch built wood track stuff. I'm just getting my feet wet. As I mentioned many times before, if you're a seasoned vet, you've been building slot cars, 20 years, 5 years, a year, this isn't the channel you probably want to check out. I'm basically sharing my experience as I go. First ever soldering outfit I've ever owned. So I can kind of tell you my soldering skills are absolutely bottom deck, but I'm learning. And that's what it's all about. You can't be scared to do something different. So here I just bought this torch, butane torch. I've never laid a solder with this torch ever. Gonna use it on this because this thick brass, you're just not gonna get her done with a standard iron. Although it's a Heiko and it's a good setup, and it does fine for a lot of things I do, but it's not gonna give me what I need on these big thick brass chassis. But I just thought I'd share what's going on. Maybe somebody has been exploring the idea of scratch building, could pick up a tip or two. You want to get yourself some kind of jig. Now this is, they don't have to be this expensive. It's a nice scratch building block. It's a precision slot car scratch builder. And what you can do, what I did when I started, was you get yourself a jeweler's board. It'll do essentially the same thing. And here's an example. So it's got holes in it. You can see right through it at the right angles, right? And you just get some pin stock, and you can set those in there and do the same thing as that. The only difference is already pre-marked out. This one essentially just took and put a line down the middle, and then a line across the back, and then basically I set my back axle to run there, and this is the center of the car. But you could virtually copy, the same thing there, put your lines you wanted to do, and this has unlimited. See on this one here is, and I like it because with this chassis here, if I'm in certain classes, you can only be so long, like we have 4-inch wheelbase, whatever, up to 4.75 here. So here it's just an easy reference for me when I'm laying my stuff out before I solder it. But I just thought I'd give, a short update. Of course, I babbled on for almost 20 minutes now, it looks like. But what I'm doing, I'm a Carrera guy. I mean, most of you've probably seen my track. Let me see if I can't spin around. I have no intention of leaving my track. It's a 80-foot, basically, track. There's my car there's my car collection. And top shelves, all my slotted NSRs, middles, Carrera. There's more on the back, but then when you get down here, see there's another model I have, and then down there is my 124s. But essentially, my TNT Motorsports track, it's 80 feet. That's 24-foot table, and I have no intention of stopping that. But I am venturing into wood because this club I'm belonging to, they're all wood. Everything they do is wood routed 124 scale. There is one portion of the club that does some 132 that's also on a wood track, no mag, and I look forward to doing a little bit about that here in the future, but with work and everything, I haven't made it to a race out at the 132s, but I got plenty of those to test around. So right now, here it is, you know, scratch building. I look forward to seeing Marty's stuff when he starts building something. And you know, if you guys are interested in scratch building, I suggest you look at George from Area 51, Harry Weiss, of course, and then Zach Morgan has a YouTube channel. Check him out. He's got some really good videos on controllers, you name it, scratch building. He's put together some proxies for Harry's tracks up there. So that wraps it up. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And I look forward to showing you the progress as I move along. Thank you.